It's an airish morning today here in the southern mountains of Appalachia. Matt and I have come outside to see what we could do today. We've had more rain this week, not as much though, so we're really thankful for that. Things are still a little muddy, but not as soupy as they were last weekend. Matt's over there behind me. We're going to plant our potatoes today. We just plant them in grow bags. We're just using grow bags. In the old days when Pap was still alive, we usually planted 2 big long rows in the big garden, in his big garden. And we ain't even planted potatoes in many years until, I don't remember if it was last year or maybe the year before, we started putting them in the grow bags. And it certainly doesn't make enough potatoes for you to store through the winter when you think about making it till the next year. But they sure are tasty, and we've really enjoyed growing them. It's just one of the finer things in life when you can go out and grabble out some new potatoes and I like to boil them and scrape them a little bit and then toss them in butter and roast them in the oven. They are so good. Really good with a pot of fresh green beans too. So in addition to planting the potatoes, I'm not sure what else we'll do today. You can see we got this big load of compost this week. We got it, so we're thinking that we're going to put it in some of our beds, some of the raised beds that we've been working on the bank. Before we put that in though, we're going to try to add some of the like trash that's left on the bank, some tree limbs and maybe some pieces of tree that they didn't pick up. We're going to put that kind of stuff in the bottom of them to kind of take up some of the room, but also as they break down, of course, that would add nutrients to the soil. Matt had a really good idea about we've got a pile of mulch that we've had since last year, and we might use some of that in the same way, putting it in the bottom parts of the beds. It was chilly when we first got up this morning. Temperatures were down in the low 30s. I didn't see any frost right here at our house. We have had a wind blowing all night, so it didn't lay for there to be any frost. But next week it's supposed to be the forecast is for it to be down in the low 20s. So definitely we'll have more big frost between now and true spring of the year, or true warm weather of the year, which usually about the first week in May is when you can guarantee that there's not going to be another frost, unless you have something really surprising, and sometimes that happens. It's always sad when you have a unusual heavy frost, say May 12th or something like that, and you've already got stuff planted, and it does a lot of damage to not only what you've got planted, but what's just naturally growing, whether it's fruit trees or bushes or things like that. When it comes to planting things, those things that are frost tender, Matt and I kind of follow Pap, what he taught us, which was to really never plant anything that you were real worried about until after, like the first week or so in May. So that's typically what we do. We do have some, though, early season vegetables growing. We have some that not all of them have come up yet, but I've got some onions about that big, some radishes about that big, and I don't think the beets or the carrots have come up. And then lettuce, even smaller than that. I can just see the barely little lettuce coming up. But all those things can stand some hard frost. They'll be just fine. And just like the potatoes, it'll take them a week or so to actually come up and sprout, but they can stand a little bit of frost too. You can see some of our little lettuce coming up right there. Just tiny little sprouts just starting. Here's one of the little onions popping up. There's another one. These will just be green onions that we'll just eat. Won't be trying to grow them for storage or anything like that. Look at that really neat little red spider there crawling along. That is a bright red spider. Here's a row of radishes that's just beginning to come up. There's one little one. Some of them are further along, seems like, than others. Probably the depth of soil that I planted. I probably planted some of them deeper than others. Radishes grow really fast. I think it's like 25 days. So it won't be long at all before we'll be having radishes. And they, again, are a cold weather crop. They can stand like the cold weather we had last night and what's coming next week. And then right here you can see all these amazing spikes coming out of the ground. Those are my hostas. I have hostas coming up everywhere. There's a big old long one. Here's some hostas that's actually beginning to kind of unfurl. So what'll happen with the hostas next week, if it does get down into the 20s and it's a hard freeze, these will just turn to mush. They will just be mushy, and they'll die back and be gone. And then in another week or so, new shoots will come out. So even though they, if we weren't going to have that cold weather coming next week and what we had last night, this plant would probably all unfurl. But if we do get down into the 20s like the forecast is, this will just kind of, they'll just get limp and mushy and fall over. And then the next spell of warm weather, they'll come back out again. There's no blooms on the blackberries yet, but as you can see, they're in full leaf, fully leafed out. Hopefully that weather that's coming next week that's going to be so cold won't hurt them, since there's no blooms. So after we got all the taters planted, Matt and I took advantage of this wonderful compost, and we dressed all the beds back here. Went ahead and put another layer of compost on them, so then whenever warm weather gets here and we're ready to start planting, those beds will be ready to go. Then we went in, ate dinner, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now we're back out again. Matt's gone to get the four-wheeler and put the wagon on it. We're going to bring some of that old compost, old mulch that we had. It's been composting since last year. Bring it up and add it to this bed. I want to put some on my asparagus bed because we never did get to do that last year. We just never did get it done. And also Matt wants to put some on the other bed. Half of it's asparagus, and then in the other half we put the rest of our potatoes. We had too many potatoes to go in the grow bags. We still have a little kind of not really a third, I guess a fourth of a 5-gallon bucket full of potatoes, but I'm going to save them for Corey and Austin so they can plant them at their house. A lot of my daffodils are already through blooming, and the blooms have kind of shriveled up on them. You can see that one right there. But I've still got a few blooming, and I have several different varieties, so in the coming weeks I'll still have daffodils. That one's really lovely yellow. Also, this time of the year, we have little violets pretty much everywhere you look. You can see some really pretty purple ones there. These are pretty too, especially when they're growing beside each other. They kind of match. Their purple markings on this one and the purple on that one. Here's another bloom, early bloom. Really pretty if you can get under there and really look at the little blooms. They're really intricate, but they kind of hang down, so they're hard to see. And I don't even know the name of that. My aunt gave it to me years ago. I have this variegated one, and then I think there's some that's not, the leaf is not variegated. It's just more of a green leaf. But it's already blooming. It'll kind of bloom on and off all through the growing season. More little violets right here. I have a video on making violet jelly, which is really good, really pretty jelly too, and it's tasty. You can also, there's all kinds of different things you can do with violets. They're edible. Their little leaves are also edible. But you can if you do a quick internet search, or even on YouTube do a search, I'm sure you'll find all kinds of recipes that you could make. But they do make a really lovely and really tasty jelly. I've made it lots of times and we really enjoy it. Then right here beside this little patch of violets are all these beautiful green fronds you can see. So this is the greenery that goes with surprise lilies. Some people call them naked ladies, different things. So this year, this time of the year, they send up these beautiful, kind of lush looking green shoots. These will die back, and by, the heat of summer, it's totally gone. You won't even know there's a flower here. This will all die back and, turn brown and wither and go back to the good earth. And then in late summer, August, maybe even September, I'll look over here and I'll notice a bloom when everything else is dying back, but there'll be blooms over here. And some people call them naked ladies. I've heard them called surprise lilies, resurrection lilies, because this part kind of dies back and then you got to wait several months to see the flower. But they're a really, really pretty flower, and they're always especially nice because that's when the growing season is dying back, and there's not much, there's not many blooms that time of the year, so they are a very nice surprise and a pretty flower. And very interesting that they send this part up early in the year, then it dies back, and then their bloom doesn't come till the end of the summer. Tired? I am wore out. But we got a lot done. The popsicle, it's been melted and then it's froze back. That's why it looks funny. It's your favorite suntan lotion.
It looks like puked up cottage cheese.
So good. Tastes just like the coconut. Good.
Yep.
So we're wore out, but we got a lot done. We found out how hard it is going to be to fill those beds. But we filled one, and how long did you say it took us? 20 minutes? About 20 minutes.
It didn't take that long, except just throwing the filler in the bottom of it. But as far as just putting the dirt in it, it won't take that long.
So that's not bad. Since we had the compost delivered, and it's mushroom compost, and it's available readily in our area. I'm not sure, of course, where you live, but we went ahead and dressed all the beds in the back, so they'll be ready to go when spring planting actually gets here, real planting.
Yep.
And so that took a lot of time and energy, but at least it's done.
Yep.
Yeah. And for the beds, we just scooped up all the nearby there, all the twigs and some logs and branches and stuff that we could find, put in the bottom. Then we put some mulch, and then we put some compost, and now hopefully we'll be able to put some dirt. We're trying to find some good topsoil, but so far that has eluded us. Which always makes sense to me. If I had good topsoil, I wouldn't want to sell it to nobody.
No.
We could sell them some rocky red clay.
Yeah, I'd like to sell every bit of that.
Yeah. So the potatoes we planted were, what are they, Mac? Kennebecks?
Kennebecks and some kind of russet.
Russet, yeah. So hopefully those will do good for us. And when we plant potatoes, we cut them in half or cut them with an eye. Make sure the little eyes, they've got eyes if they're big. If they're really small ones, we just plant the whole potato. And a lot of people I know cut them and then they wait 24 or 48 hours and let that kind of scab over. We don't ever do that. We're always doing good if we just get them planted. Pap never done that either. He was just doing good if he got them planted.
Well, they always make.
Yeah, they always made. But I know some people prefer to let that scab over, but we don't do that. But you got to do whatever works for you.
Yep.
Some fresh potatoes and green beans, wouldn't that be good? All cooked together, and some cornbread.
Gosh,
Or some
yeah.
roasted in the oven.
Gosh, yeah.
I love them when I leave the skins on them and boil them and then scrape the skin a little bit and then put them in the oven, and then all those little skin pieces get crispy. That's good.
About 4 ears of good corn and about a pan full of side meat, and I'd fight a war to eat that.
It's a feast, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. One of my favorites.
So you can probably tell by how I sound if I sound funny. Matt did give me his cold. Thanks.
What I told you about trying to get sugar, that's what happens. Can't keep her off of me.
Yeah. So it's been through all of us. Everybody but Granny and Austin has had it. So they're the only two left standing.
They're the toughest ones of the bunch.
Toughest ones of the bunch, yeah. Even just a general cold makes you feel bad. I felt better today, though, than I did the last 2 days, so hopefully I'm turning the corner, too. And I think Corey and Katie and Matt are all feeling better.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm still stuffy, and it's been about 10 days, 8 or 10 days. I mean, I don't feel bad other than my head
stuffed
stopped up.
It's turned out to be a real nice day.
A little cool, but it's better than being hot.
Yeah, but when we were working, we both got hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exciting to really start. Now we, feeling this makes it real that we filled one of them. If we can get some dirt to put in there with it, that'd be good. But that we've actually started the process.
Yep.
Seeing how hard it'll be to climb up and down that bank.
That ain't that bad to me.
If we had one set of steps and then you just kind of had those down there are not bad. You can just walk kind of sidling out the bank and go straight to them. But if you had a path between all these, so if you had one set of steps and you got up there and then you walked along the path,
Yep.
would that work?
Like a chairlift idea.
Yeah. A chairlift. Just get you an escalator.
Yep.
What's the forecast next week? Down like a 25, 24 or
Yeah,
something?
there's several 20 something degree mornings, so there's lots of stuff gonna get bit here next week.
Yeah.
I don't believe our apple trees ain't budded,
No, they've not.
and that's good.
That little peach tree did. It had one bloom on it, which we just planted it last year, so we're not expecting it to have peaches on it probably, but Granny's plum tree's in full bloom.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Always happens. The things like my hostas and even my peony up in front with the pink blooms, Matt, those kind of things, if it will bite them back, but they'll come back. It'll be okay. But of course, fruit trees, if they've already bloomed and set their fruit, that's a horror for that to happen to them. But most perennial type flowers especially, it'll kill them back, but they'll just come back out. They'll just die back and then come back. And it might not get that cold. They might change by then.
That's true. They don't know everything.
No. And if there's some wind with it, which if it's that many mornings in a row, probably won't be windy all those. The wind kind of sometimes protects things.
Yep. I'll be glad to see all them filled up. And
Growing.
all that part of it. Once everything's filled up, then getting up there is not going to be that bad. It's just trying to get up there with 2 bucket loads of dirt every time. It's kind of...
We can eventually build some steps. If we built steps right there, maybe between those, I don't know. Or right there, wherever. And then you had like dug out a little walkway between them.
Yeah, I can probably do that. In my spare time.
Yeah. We went in for dinner. We had peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but Matt watched one of his favorite shows. What's the name of it? Tombstone
Territories.
Territories.
It's an old western.
From the 50s.
It started in the 50s. Only ran it about 3 seasons. But I don't know, for some reason I like that one. I think it's because we watch it at deer camp some, and
Yeah.
anything I watch there, I kind of like watching here.
Yeah. Granny keeps her TV on the Western channel, so when I stay with her, that's what's on. I've not seen that one on her channel, which we probably get a different, because we don't have satellite, we probably get a different channel. I don't think I've seen Tombstone, but she watches Death Valley Days and the Virginian, and what's some of the other, Cheyenne, Gunsmoke, of course. Yeah.
I love all those shows. That's good, clean TV.
I love them because they always end happy. They fix whatever it is, and a lot of times the criminal, the bad person, comes to be good by the end. You know, it's like almost like a story of redemption by the end. Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about kids watching it because there ain't nothing bad on it.
No, right. Yeah. But I'd never seen the Tombstone Territory till Matt introduced me to it.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. The sheriff's a cool dude.
Yeah.
That's what Pap would say. He's a cool dude. Calm and collected.
Yeah. That's one of those old, kind of obscure shows that I don't remember seeing it when I was young.
No, I don't remember seeing it.
I don't ever remember seeing it until, yes, it was this past fall. Down where we deer hunt. We had satellite TV there for years and years and years, and then we had it took out because it's expensive. And it's not mountainous down there, so you can actually put up a analog antenna. And we just got an old antenna like we had growing up.
Yeah.
And it picks whatever station it is it shows at, it picks it up. And that's how I found it, just by accident.
And then you come home and figured out we could just watch it too.
I got to searching it on our TV and I found it. There's not that many episodes of it, so I kind of watch them sparingly.
Yeah.
Try to
You
make
said
them.
they only did it for 3 seasons. Yeah.
Yep. I think 57 to 60.
Yeah. Whereas Gunsmoke was like 10 seasons or 12
No, it was,
or more than
19
that.
or 20.
19 or 20.
Yeah.
What, in 2020, is that when I got Matt like the whole collection of Gunsmoke?
Yeah, every episode.
Every episode.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. And actually that was Granny's idea. She gave me that one day. We were down there watching it, and I said, Matt just loves Gunsmoke. And she said, well, you know, you ought to buy it for him for Christmas. I was like, that's perfect. Thank you, Granny.
That was a good present.
We watched them and watched them and watched them. Yeah. Matt Dillon was a cool dude too.
Oh yeah, he was.
And Festus, you gotta love him. And what's the other one? Not Festus, but the what is his name? I hear his voice in my head. Miss Kitty.
Yeah, can't think of it.
Oh, I almost thought of it.
Don't think too hard, you get hurt.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. And
can't
Doc.
remember. Yeah, I liked him.
Well,
He's hateful, ornery.
Yeah, he was grouchy. Was it Chester?
Yeah.
Chester. Yeah, Chester. I love those old shows like that, though.
Me too.
especially the westerns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you was talking about those antennas. We used to have, of course, everybody had one, and we got like 2 channels maybe. Sometimes you could watch PBS, which was good because it had like Austin City Limits on. Paul and Pap really enjoyed that. But sometimes you could get 3 channels, but most of the time it was just the 2 that you could get. Was ABC and NBC was mostly all you could get.
I counted those up down there, and we get like 12.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's just a.
I wonder if that is because it's
It's because
flat.
it's flat land, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
We had our antenna on that side of the house, Granny and Pap's, and on this side, and it's those days where you're like, no, turn it the other way. It's barely coming in. Turn it the other way. Somebody'd be up there trying to turn it.
Yeah, that's the way it was when I grew up too. The same thing. You got 2 most days, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then when VCRs first became available, they were real expensive. Daddy bought one of them, and then we could go to the store, the movie store, and rent movies. And it was forevermore. I was always in trouble because I didn't get them back on time, or forgot to take them back, and they'd call Daddy, and he'd pitch fit. And
Yeah.
jump on me, and he wasn't going to let me get no more for a while. And you had to have a membership.
Yeah, you had to have a membership.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So if you didn't bring them back, then you got penalized on your membership somehow. I can't remember, but yeah, that was it was cool, but
Yeah.
it's just different to think about that
Oh,
now.
it's so different, when you can just watch whatever now.
Yeah.
One of the first movie places in Murphy that I remember being in, I may be wrong, but it was actually down there at like where the Hackney warehouse is, not in that, but there was another building there that used to be there, and it was a movie place. And at one time it was a clothing place. That was before the movie place, I think. I can't remember the name of it, but you'd go in there and you could rent your VCR and your
VCR
Yeah,
too?
you could. We didn't have one. We never had one, so we'd have to rent the VCR, and which we didn't do that very often. It's mostly when me and Paul got a little older that we'd do it, and then you could rent the movies too. Then there used to be one over there. Where was that other one? Even when you were out here, that was like where Walgreens is, or over in there.
Yeah.
Walgreens, somewhere over in there.
Before Walgreens is, it was Circuit City.
Yeah, Circuit City. Yeah, and
you
you
could-
go all the way in the back.
And they
Yeah,
had movies.
it's a different time.
Yep.
And you were always, we could never rent very many. I mean, of course, then you got to take them back, like Matt said, in a certain amount of days. And then we were always arguing over what to get, because then if you get one and it's no good, then you felt like you just wasted your money and wasted your time.
Now you can watch them on your phone.
Yeah, now you can watch them on your phone. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Remember, we loved Windwalker. That was like one. Of
We
course, all
watched
the
it.
Rambos. Paul wanted them, and the what's his name, Chuck Norris.
We rented, I don't know how many times we rented Pale Rider,
Yeah.
and what was the other one? I can't remember. We rented a bunch of them, but I remember Pale Rider. We watched it quite a few times. Or the Red Fern Groves, we had to watch that one
Yeah.
all the time. Every year, right before hunting season, we'd watch that one.
Yeah.
And then all the grown men that's looking around, they would try not to sniffle watching that, because if you can't watch, if you watch where the Red Fern Grows and you don't get teared up, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Mr. Moffat read that to us, and I think he got teared up.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
I know Mr. Sellers, which is great. We love Mr. Sellers more than anything, but he read it for Corey and Katie's class, and he just sat up there at the desk and bawled.
Yep.
Which it is. It's hard not to cry.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
How do we get talking about movies?
I don't know.
From gardening.
I don't know. 'Cause we was talking about the antennas and the. Oh, we was talking about Tombstone. That's what started us. Tombstone Territory.
Right.
All the old shows you used to watch that were good.
They're even better now than we thought they were then, because they're so clean and good now, and then what we're bombarded with now is not.
Yeah, they have some good values to
So
them.
yeah, I mean I got more appreciation for them now than I did then, in other words.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's just such a peacefulness about them, too.
Mm-hmm.
And is part of it is, like I said, there's always a dilemma, and it's all solved, which, real life's not like that, but it's all solved by the end, and everybody's buddies again, and it's all okay.
Yeah, and there's gunfighting and shooting and killing in it,
it's still okay.
Yeah, it's not like the new stuff now. It's just different.
Yeah, somehow. And it's funny about the antennas, though.
It is.
Twisting them and turning them, trying to get the picture not to be fuzzy.
Yeah,
and the big console TVs, like a piece of furniture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Now they're this thin and 80 inches wide.
Right. And those TVs that kind of bowed out like the glass part.
Yep. I shot one of them with a shotgun when I was a little boy.
I hope it wasn't in your house.
No, it was an old and something. It's one that quit working, and we somehow or other it wound up thrown out behind the woodshed or the tool shed at home. And it laid out there a while, and every time I went by that, I thought about it. I wonder what that'd be like to shoot that. And I just finally one day couldn't help it. And it had them old tubes in it, and that thing exploded when I shot it. And it blew glass all over me. It's wonder it didn't blind me. But
His papa was proud of that.
he wasn't there.
Did he not see the evidence?
Well, it took him a little while. Then he finally saw it, and then he wasn't mad about that. He was mad about the gigantic mess it was there, and I left it there, like I did everything else.
Just shot it and walked
Just
off.
I shot it, and the excitement was over. And it kind of scared me because it blew glass all over me. But once that was over with, I went on to something else.
To tear up something else.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff I did. Of course, I was pretty well turned loose,
Yeah.
and which is good.
Yeah.
But it's a wonder I didn't get hurt on several occasions.
What is it the saying? God watches over drunks and fools and children, or something like that.
Yeah, morons like me.
And children, though, because children do things they don't, not aware of that it's going to hurt them until it's too late, and they're hurt. But lots of times they do it, and it don't. It's just like you said. You look back and think, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe I done that."
Right.
Like you and Eric jumping out of the loft because you wanted to be like the people, or out of the barn.
It was out of the attic window.
Oh, out of the attic window.
And we rappelled on a rope. We'd seen us. I think we was watching the A-Team. And they was rappelling, and we just thought, how cool is that? I think we can do that. And
So out the window you went.
well, it was Daddy had a big old pile of rope, and I was warned, at the penalty of almost death, do not cut my rope. And it was hundreds of feet long. So we dragged that rope up into the attic, and I didn't cut it. I just piled it up in the floor and then tied it off around our attic back then. It was going to be a finished attic, or finished like an upstairs, but it ended up being an attic. And it was floored, but it had like 4 or 5 foot knee walls the whole length of the house on either side, but it wasn't finished. It was just studded, and that's the way it stayed. And I just tied one of those ropes around one of those studs and threw it out the window, and we decided, we was trying to figure out who's going to go first, and we had one pair of gloves between us, so for some reason instead of taking turns, I wore one glove and he wore the other.
Oh, gosh.
So we backed out the window, and it was pretty high. It was probably 30 feet high, because it went down into it wasn't just down to the yard level, it went down another 8 or 10 feet into an old driveway that went toward the basement door. So it was probably 30 feet high, and then when I backed out the window, and all my weight went out the window, and I was hanging by the windowsill and trying to get my hand on the rope, and I was fully committed, and I couldn't get back in. Then I got scared, and there wasn't nothing to do but just turn loose and
Go to the ground.
You know, when we were young, and we had it in our mind that we were going to bounce off the house 2 or 3 times like they do rappelling with all the gear.
Yeah.
But what I did was just shot straight to the bottom just as fast as you could go and hit the ground and bounced.
Yeah.
And burned all the hide off my one hand that didn't have a glove.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
And did Eric come out, or did he say, no, I'm not going to?
No, he done it.
Did he?
Yeah. And oddly enough, he didn't ask for the other glove. After he saw my hand all blistered and bloody, he did it too, and about the same thing happened to him.
Maybe he thought he had to.
Yeah.
He had to suffer like you did.
Yeah. We decided we wouldn't rappel anymore after that.
Oh gosh.
That was an experience.
I guess so.
So yeah, that's one thing. Get a broke back, broke legs, broke
Yeah.
feet, broke head.
Did you tell Papa all about it?
Years later.
Years
Yeah, I
later.
didn't tell him any times around that time. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and he just was in shock. He said, "You don't have any more sense than that," and I said, "I guess not."
You're just gonna be like the people on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. A-Team. Is that what
Yeah,
you've been
I
watching?
think that's what it was.
Mr. T.
Yeah, we liked that show.
Oh,
me and
yeah, Paul loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all liked it, but Paul loved it. I guess it's going to be cold again tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Feels a cold breeze blowing on us.
You know,
Matt's going to cook me a delicious supper tonight, though.
mm-hmm.
So he said that'd be good for my cold. Get some good meat.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make me a grilled tenderloin,
Grilled deer tenderloin.
salad, and a baked potato. That'd be good.
And the deer tenderloin came from right there.
That's nice.
Quite local.
Yeah. That will be delicious.
Mm-hmm. It's good for you, too.
Yeah. Help get my energy back up.
Right.
It's probably helped being outside all day today, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good for you, especially after you've spent most of the year, most of the winter indoors, and then the time's going to change tonight.
Yeah.
And that's going to be good, too.
Yeah. And I can work you every evening after work.
Oh, yeah.
Fun for you, right?
Good times.
Yeah. Nice to hear the creek.
It is.
It's one of the benefits of all the rain. You can really hear it rolling.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to rain again tonight.
Yeah, and tomorrow.
And tomorrow.
Part of the day tomorrow.
Part of the day. Has dried up some this week, though, so we can't complain.
It's been windy about all week.
Yeah,
So
it's dried out
that's
a lot
helped
of
it.
it. Yeah. We thank you for dropping by to visit with us, check in with us as we work on making a garden this year to feed our family. One of our favorite things to do. Very rewarding, but something we really enjoy.
Let me clarify that.
What are you going to clarify?
Making the garden is not my favorite part. Eating
Eating the
is my
garden. I
favorite
thought
part.
you was going to tell me you didn't like it. I was going to say, no,
No.
you can't. I knew you'd be teasing if you did, but...
No,
Oh, yeah.
That's my
okay.
favorite part.
That's Matt's favorite part. And I love eating it, too, but oh, my goodness, it's so exciting watching the little plants grow.
Yeah, it is neat.
Yeah, it is neat. Especially when you, like this year, when we get to add new beds, it's just so much more exciting and dreaming about what you could put in them, and we still don't know, but
You the boss.
yeah, but really nice. And we appreciate you dropping by to help us celebrate Appalachia and visit with us while we do one of our favorite things. And I'm too tired to care.
Better get some taters in the oven.
No, 'cause those are big ones I bought.
You put them in the wood stove.
Mm-hmm.
They get done quick and they get done good too.
Well, let's do that.
We'd have to wrap them good though.
Yeah. Wrap them 2 or 3 times in tinfoil.
That way it get the skin getting crusty and
Crunchy.
then you can eat it.
Yeah.
Cause I eat it anyway, but
Yeah, I don't.
I like it when it's crusty.
Well, we could do that. I'll make the salad. Got anything we could make bread? Garlic bread. I might just have toast.
Yeah, I can make it down to whatever bread's in there and just put it on the little grill out there at the end.
Have ice cream for dessert.
Be a feast.
Yeah. We got a lot done today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited about. I'm pleased that we covered the asparagus bed, because somehow last year we just never did do it, and we missed it, and then we never did do it. And I'm not sure we did it the year before either, but that'll really be good for it. That'll feed it.
Yeah, it'll be good for it.
And nice to have the potatoes planted too.
I just hope they don't sprout too quick and get hurt.
I don't think so.
They're pretty tough.
They're
They
pretty
can
tough,
take a little cold weather, but
and it'll take a week or more for them to sprout before they grow up.
I doubt they'll do it in that length of time because the ground's cold.
Yeah, right. So I think they'll be fine.
Right.
Next week's St. Patrick's Day. That's when lots of old-timey people plant their potatoes on St. Patrick's Day. Those shingles, I thought that I might stick them under the
They need to be
porch
put in the
there.
basement so that they'll stay good until, if something happens, some of these come off, we'd have one to replace it with.
Well, too, I thought it'd be good to put some strips of it on those steps. No.
Yeah, if you want.
I mean, like at Granny's, that made it so much better.
Okay.
Now, when you go down her ramp, you're going to die, probably, because there's nothing on it, and it's so slick. But if you go down her steps, that keeps them from being slick. And wasn't that just shingles that we used?
Yeah. I can put that on the ramp, too, if you want to.
Well, it'd probably be a good idea when she's going down it by herself.
Well, she shouldn't be going down it.
I know.
Really.
Yeah, I know. But, Granny.
I do.
Granny's going to do what Granny's going to do.
Is that the way you're going to get it?
Yeah, probably.
Well, I've got you beat because I've already been that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, Katie, you'll have to lock us, like ties to something and lock us up.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably have to put a GPS collar on me to find me. I'll wander off somewhere.
Yeah. Put a shock collar on you so you can walk out of the yard, you get shocked.
You see Corey on the side of the road with an antenna stuck out the window like a cane dog trying to find me.
Trying to find you. Yeah. I reckon I'd be like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
You've
want
always had independence. You don't want to give it up just because your children tell you to.
Right.
So. What's that?
It's me with my showed her a picture of my blood pressure and she's asking me how the dog is. We ain't got the dog.
Well, there is no dog here. No dog. Olive did not come stay with us. Alright, potatoes in the wood stove and salad, bread,
And meat.
and meat,
And ice cream.
and ice cream.
And ibuprofen.
Yeah. And
I've already had 3 this morning when I first got up.
cold medicine for me. No, I don't need no cold medicine. I need to do the neti pot again. Are
2
those
of 'em.
hogs?
Yep. Red tails.
Corey'd be jealous.
Yep.
Are they mated? Is that why they're together?
Well, I didn't ask them.
I'm just saying, do they mate? Ain't there some hawk? Corey told me mates for life.
They mated with somebody because there they are.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Corey says that they mate for life. Some kind of hawk does.
I don't really know. I'd say that and there took enough and it left.
Yeah, it's going in a different direction. It's probably trying to see if we're
Probably
something.
trying to find our chickens.
Yeah. Seeing if we're something it could eat. That's what it's doing, ain't it? Looking up right through there.
It's looking, yeah.
A little
Hunting. We're looking for a squirrel.
squirrel or a mouse or something.
There comes the other one.
Yeah.
And there's another one. Was that a crow aggravating it? Yep.
Oh, they're gonna fight.
I never have understood why in the world a hawk puts up with that.
The crows just like to aggravate them.
A hawk can just turn around and tear its head off if it just do it.
Yeah. The crow just dive bombed Granny's house, it looked like.
It's cool to live somewhere where you can see that.
Oh yeah, there was a crow that was staying in the backyard all the time. Was that last year?
Here?
Yeah, he was just right out there.
It was last year and the year before.
I've
both.
not seen it in a
I've not
while.
seen him lately. Alright, let's go cook. If I can get up.